have about 40 million doses of vaccine before the end of the first year of the year. That's enough to vaccinate 20 million people, but then it will continue through January and February, and hopefully by March we'll start to see vaccine available for the general public.
Some positive news from the CDC director offering a potential rollout timeline for a COVID vaccine here in the U.S., offering some hope in this holiday season as cases continue to surge across the country. But will people really take the vaccine? Dr. Mark Siegel, author of the new book, COVID, The Politics of Fear and the Power of Science, and Fox News contributor, of course, joins me now with more. Good evening, Dr. Siegel.
Hi, Judge. Good to see you.
Oh, good. Doctor, now, how many vaccines are going to be rolled out? I understand there are 3.
Well, so we have 3, and the first one is going to be the Pfizer vaccine, a messenger RNA vaccine that looks like it's going to get emergency approval on December 10th and will be rolled out on December 11th. And, you know, David Bossie was making the point the president doesn't get any credit for all of his business acumen and management of this. Get this. A public-private partnership where Health and Human Services says you get $2 billion and we'll guarantee you 100 million doses. They say that to every company involved. And guess who's rolling out the vaccine? The United States military. I mean, what do you think they're good at? Deployment. So Gus Perna, 4-star General Perna, says when Pfizer gets that approval, bang, the distribution starts. So I think when CDC director says 40 million doses of the Moderna, the Pfizer vaccine, perhaps also the AstraZeneca vaccine by the end of the year, I think that that's quite possible. And who's going to get it first, Judge? Going to give it to people in nursing homes. And we've been covering that story about how at risk they are and how certain governors aren't paying enough attention to them. And healthcare workers who are on the front lines.
What about, Doctor, what about those governors like Cuomo who say, you know, if it's a Trump vaccine, I don't want it? Or Kamala Harris who said, I won't take it if Donald Trump. This is a Trump vaccine. They ought to call it the Trump vaccine.
Right, it is. And this is the politics of fear that I wrote about. Exactly this. Let's put fear into vaccine hesitators, people who are hesitant to take vaccines in the first place. Well, Judge, I have a cure for that fear. You know what it is? That the virus can do a lot more damage to somebody in a high-risk group, an elderly person, than this vaccine ever could. And the Pfizer vaccine is actually out of your system in just a couple of hours. And it might give you some fatigue or a headache. But you know what? That lasts a day. And we have to encourage people to take this vaccine in order to be able to slow the spread of COVID.
So are those, Doctor, are those the worst side effects of fatigue and headache? Because people are worried about the side effects.
Yeah, and fever. Those are the worst side effects, and the most they last is 24 hours. And again, we're giving them to high-risk groups first, and then we'll have other vaccines rolling out that may have smaller side effects. But that's not, you know, I don't want to downplay that side effect, but COVID can do a lot more to you than a transient fatigue or fever. It's unbelievable the rate of speed that these have been produced. But the science has not been compromised.
Do you see these vaccines being given to children, or are they too strong for children?
No, they've been tested already in children at the University of Cincinnati. The Children's Hospital there have given it to kids over the age of 12. And that's where we're going to start. We'll bring it below the age of 12 after a lot of other high-risk groups have gotten it. I am absolutely confident we can give this to children. Judge, all it does is tell your body to make the virus's protein so your immune system can battle it. It doesn't get into your genetics. It's just a messenger. It's a really, really brilliant vaccine. And again, this has never been done, unprecedented under the president's watch.
Doctor, some of the airlines like Qantas in Australia is saying you're going to have to prove that you've had the vaccine in order to fly. I suspect that thinking is going to start permeating across the West. How can they tell if you've actually had the vaccine? Is there a physical way to tell, or is it just a card?
It's a card. But, you know, I get nervous when I hear all these regulations, like, you know, the mayor of Los Angeles shutting down outdoor dining when they're not even spreading COVID there. I mean, excess regulations makes me very nervous. Do I think everyone should get these vaccines? Yes. They will prevent spread and they will stamp this down. But no, they're not going to be able to test you. But at some point,
we'll have herd immunity. We'll have herd immunity before everyone has this.
We will have herd immunity because of these vaccines by the spring, if all goes well. It's an unbelievable accomplishment here. By the spring, we will have enough people vaccinated, if we can overcome resistance, to absolutely get herd immunity by the spring, if it goes according to plan.
Okay. All right, Dr. Mark Siegel, thanks so much. You've been doing incredible work during this whole COVID disaster. Thank you.
And Judge, let's give the Trump administration credit for this. They deserve it.
I agree. I agree. Coming up, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, so no better time to start cooking up some special memories in the kitchen. Steve Ducey, my friend, is here with some recipes you're not going to want to miss.